Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, our guest is David Perchinsky, dialysis patient, former baseball coach, and seeking a kidney transplant. David has had his struggles with chronic kidney disease, including 2 strokes, a heart attack, and 5 bypass surgery. All the while, he has been seeking a kidney donor. David, who now lives in Minnesota, did his undergraduate work at South Dakota State University from 1994 to 1997, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology. He returned from 2001 to 2003 for a Master's of Science degree in sports pedagoggy. His additional credentials include a doctorate in leadership for the advancement of learning and service from Cardinal Stretch University in Milwaukee. David was a 44-year-old young, fit, and very active guy. But in late October of 2017, when he was mowing his grass, all of a sudden he couldn't push the lawnmower anymore. He became extremely winded and sat down. He knew something was up. A week later, he was helping his father move in Minnesota when he felt nauseous, pretty bad, and extremely weak. His father called 911. David discovered that he had had a small heart attack and 2 small strokes. Shortly after that, he was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease and later placed on dialysis with a need for a kidney transplant. Hypertension, high blood pressure, caused David's kidneys to fail. He has not been able to work since 2017. Dialysis has not always been kind to David. Just 2 years into dialysis in 2020, he had an angiogram that led for a need for a 5 bypass surgery. Having completed cardiac rehab, David is now working out religiously about 4 days a week. He's very strict about his diet, except for tacos. Because of chronic fatigue and mobility issues, Dave is seeking a living kidney donor or any alternative, a deceased kidney donor, as soon as possible. His children are his motivation to continue living. Dave is currently listed at the Transplant Center in the University of Minnesota Medical Center, and the link to that center will be available on my Facebook page, pinned in the top of my Facebook page and the comments, and will also float by on the banners during this broadcast. To apply to be a kidney donor online there, check out the link. That likewise will be streaming across your screen during the broadcast and will be pinned to the top of my page very soon. He is also working with Kent Bressler at Kidney Solutions. You can find them at kidneysolutions.org for additional information, or you can call to talk to Kent or Shannon at 830-285-2140. That's 830-285-2140. Please give a warm welcome to David Perchinsky. David, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
No worries, my friend. Happy to do it. Did I state everything correctly in the introduction?
Yes. Yep.
Please talk to us about where you grew up, your education, and your employment experiences.
I grew up in Bloomington, Minnesota. From there, I went to junior college in Bloomington for about a year, and then I went to South Dakota State, did my undergraduate, played baseball, had a fantastic experience, loved the city, Brookings, South Dakota. After my undergraduate, I got an opportunity to coach at Augustana University in Sioux Falls, Augustana College now, I'm sorry, in Sioux Falls, a Division II school. I did that for a year, came back to Minnesota. I was a middle school, high school educator for right around 3 South Dakota State. I was a GA for a couple years. Loved the coaching experience. Met some more phenomenal people within the university, within the city. From there, I got an opportunity to teach and coach at UW Whitewater. And from while I was there, I'd say probably 4 years into my stint there, I decided to go on and get my my doctorate. I did that at Cardinal Stritch, and after Cardinal Stritch, my wife at the time received an opportunity. So she and I, with our 3 children, infants at that time, decided to uproot, and we moved back western Wisconsin. And we were there for I was there for until 2017, and then kidney disease struck, and just my whole world was upside down. Whole world.
Been there and done that, my friend.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your health prior to the age of 45. Can you please describe your health at that point in time?
Well, probably just like every other 45-year-old male, you don't go see the doctor, because who would, right? I was in the health physical education world. At the time of my kidney disease, I was a school administrator. I was working out, not as much as I probably should have been. I wasn't as diligent as I should have been with my health, with my diet. Um, I was just a typical 44, 45-year-old male living a pretty good life. I was very active with my kids. I played golf probably twice a week, lifting weights. But kidney disease.
Okay.
The,
Concerning your health, go ahead,
yep,
David.
I've heard many ways to describe kidney disease, and I think the best way to describe it is literally a silent killer. It didn't kill me, but it almost did. You know, like you said before, you know, I had 2 small strokes, a minor heart attack, 5 bypass. I spent probably 8 months in a rehab facility learning how to speak proficiently again, read proficiently, walk, and it's a life upending situation.
Okay. Concerning your health after the age of 45, I understand that you were mowing your lawn in late October 2017.
Yep.
Tell us what happened that day.
I was just in the back of my yard, which had a small berm. I was almost done cutting my grass, probably for the last time of the year. And then I had probably a third of the berm left to do. And I just all of a sudden got very, very weak, like the strength in my body just poof went out of my body. And I thought that was kind of odd. So I stopped, went and sat down, took my boots off, and they were kind of puffing up a little bit. And once again, my strength was just went right out the window, right out the window.
Feet swollen?
Oh yeah, yep, yeah.
Did you seek medical treatment at that time?
Well, probably not young, I shouldn't say. Well, I wasn't young. But I was pretty dang stubborn, and I thought, this will subside. Did it subside? My feet did. The swelling did go down a little bit. My strength did not return, but I thought, you know what, I could just fight through this a little bit. And I did not seek medical care right away. I should have, without a doubt, but I didn't.
Okay. I understand about a week later, you were helping your dad move in Minnesota when something else happened. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was probably a little bit more than a week later. But my dad was going through a transition in his life, and he needed some help. I'm the only sibling. My brother is deceased since 2005, so it was just up to me. So I drove over to Minnesota, and I was spending an afternoon helping him move. And all of a sudden, I was feeling very lightheaded. The strength in me there was no strength in the first place, pretty much. Um, it got worse, and I just indicated that to my dad, and he said, "Well, I think I'm going to call 911," and he did. Thank goodness, because I probably wouldn't be on this podcast right now if he didn't. And I was
Okay.
rushed to Southdale Fairview Hospital.
Okay. What did you find out about your condition there?
Well, they knew that they knew that well, I should say they do. They felt that at that point in time I had the two small strokes and a minor heart attack, and they're pretty dang concerned, as my father was too, as I was as well. And at that point in time, I think I saw every ER doc at the hospital, and I do recall, because a lot of it is very foggy. We talked about this last night in our Zoom meeting. There's the brain fog that happens. But I do recall meeting a nephrologist who diagnosed me with hypertension. Two, I was having renal failure.
Okay. When were you diagnosed with chronic kidney disease? Was it at that time?
At that time, right at that time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How long was it between the time you were diagnosed and the time that you were placed on dialysis?
About a year and a half. 2 years. I probably should have been on dialysis a little bit before when I went on dialysis, and how do I explain it? I went to at this point in time, I had a primary care physician, and I went in for just kind of a checkup with him, and he knew of my situation, and he did my blood pressure, and I think it was like 212 over, if I remember correctly, over 100. So once again, I was rushed back into the hospital, and I had already had a fistula, and that's when they said, you know what, we're doing dialysis right now. So bang, I went into the dialysis world.
Okay. I understand you have been on in-center hemodialysis.
Yeah. I'm at the Vita Lakeville Clinic, which is, in my opinion, probably the world's best dialysis center for in-center hemodialysis. I love my dialysis staff. I think they're gold. They save life. They save lives. They're life givers. They're compassionate. They're understanding. They're thoughtful listeners. I'm not at one of the larger dialysis centers in my county. I'm at a small dialysis center, so I think I get
So David has an excellent care team, by the way.
At my
So you are pleased with your care team?
oh my I love my nephrologist, my nurse, the technicians. I have small conversations with them, but we all say hi to each other. We're all very cordial with each other. I notice when they're gone, I'm sure they notice if I'm gone a little bit too. It is a dialysis family without a doubt.
Okay. How long have you been on dialysis?
Whew, we're going on 3.5 years, almost 4. Yeah, 3.5. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 to 10 o'clock.
Three days a week, 3.5 hours a session.
Yep, absolutely. You bet. Yeah.
Have you had any challenges or issues while you were on dialysis?
I think dialysis for the most part is challenging. There's always an issue that comes up, whether you like it or not. For instance, yesterday I let a tech who's a trainee work on my arm. Should I have? Yeah, I think so because they need to learn. Um, I bled a little bit more than I usually do, probably because she was a new tech, and it's how it goes. But dialysis, you get used, unfortunately, and nobody should have to go through dialysis. But anyway, you get used to it. There's a rhythm to it, and sometimes the rhythm gets upset, and unfortunately, my personal experience, I've seen, not seen, there's been 9 of my fellow patients that have passed away in 3.5 years. So there's always something that comes up with dialysis. Um, it's not a life that anybody should live.
Okay. I understand since 2017 you have not been working.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it goes down to the fact, health is wealth. I'm on dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yes, I had 2 small strokes, uh, a heart attack, 5 bypass. My main number one objective is to get my health back so I can be functional and productive and serve my community.
Okay. I understand that in 2020 you had an angiogram that led to the 5 bypass surgery, cardiac rehab for 4 to 6 months, and 2.5 months of some nerve related rehab. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you asked about things that, so to speak, come up in dialysis. Well, this came up in dialysis. I was talking with my nephrologist assistant, Aaron, who's amazing, and my blood numbers were okay. Things were all right. Um, she knew that I was on the transplant list, and she was just kind of do the regular checkup with me. And she asked how I was feeling. I'm like, I am really, really tired and winded these days. And she just said, you know what? I think you need to go in and get an angiogram. And if I remember correctly, that was on a Wednesday. And I was in on a Friday. No, I was in. No, I was in the next Tuesday. I was in for an angiogram, and they did the prep, the workup. Thought everything was going to be good. Like I said before, my blood numbers were just fine. And when I went in for the angiogram, I was half awake. And I do recall talking with the nurses and the surgeons, and then all of a sudden, the screen got pushed away from me, and it got very quiet. and minimal words were spoken, and the angiogram was done. I was wheeled back into recovery, and lo and behold, the surgeon came back. He's like, "Hey, you're a ticking time bomb. You need 5 bypass. We can't do it until next Monday because the surgical room is being used for COVID patients." So I literally couldn't. He's like, "You can't lift anything more than 5 pounds. You have to do very minimal everything, and I'm gonna see you the following Monday." And I was 5 o'clock in the morning. That following Monday, I was back in. Yeah, I did. The surgery was 8.5. Was in the ICU on a ventilator for 3 days.
Ooh.
Yep, yep. I was in the the ventilator for 3 days, ICU for 5 days, regular hospital room for 10 days because I kind of had a little bit of a relapse while I was trying to do rehab, and then they put me in a rehab facility for 10 days, and I was back at my house the day before Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, I was wheelchaired into the rehab facility, and I told them when I got there, I'm going to be out of here in 10 days. I'm going to walk out of here if it means that I can even have a cane. I'll walk out of here. And 10 days later, I walked out of there with a cane. I wasn't going to be around there. No chance.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. I understand that as a result of some of your experiences, you're on a special workout and a special kidney diet. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. Part of the 5 bypass rehab is I had to do cardiac rehab, and I was there for I believe 35 appointments, classes, and that was Tuesdays and Thursdays. I still did my dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Rehab was 35 times, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that was kind of a catalyst for me to kind of get going again a little bit. It had been probably 3 years that I had lifted weights at that point in time. Did I accept dialysis? Kind of. But then the cardiac rehab hit, and I'm like, hey, I got to get going. They offered a lot of very beneficial health classes, so I went to those as well. And one of them was on nutrition. The cardiac diet and the renal diet, there's a lot of similarities, and the majority of it is, and the science will back this too, is that a plant-based diet is best for people who have renal kidney disease, and that's associated with cardiac rehab as well. But as you mentioned, I do like my tacos, and you're absolutely right. Every Friday, I'm going to have my tacos. So I primarily, I'd say 85% plant-based. That, along with the working out, have been life-changing for me. My blood numbers are just they're fantastic. My phosphorus is a little bit high, but that's common from what I understand. But for the most part, there's been a night and day turnaround, night and day. My dialysis sessions are better. Like this morning, I was in the gym at 6 a.m. I got out at 8. As far as working out, I wouldn't necessarily call it special. Because of my situation, my mobility isn't as much as it was before. And one of the side effects, not side effects, the how do I say it? One of the part of kidney disease, as you probably well know, people who have kidney disease, they're oftentimes they're very stiff. So my mobility is off. It 2 hours in the gym, I probably do 45 minutes of workout because, well, no, I'd say about an hour and a half because of chronic fatigue and my mobility is off. But I'll tell you, it's been an absolute, it's been a turnaround for me, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about your current kidney health condition. How are things going for you?
Well, I need the transplant, and my mission is to find a living kidney donor, and that's every single day. I do something from a social media standpoint, or tell somebody out in public. For instance, the people at the gym, when I come in, they're like, "Oh, that's the kidney guy." I have a magnet on my car. The number of things that I've done to bring awareness of chronic kidney disease, I think has been very beneficial. And I'm just in a situation that for me to turn around, I have to have a kidney. That's just the bottom line.
Okay. I understand that you're currently listed at the University of Minnesota. Can you tell
Yeah.
us approximately when you were first listed?
I would say 2019. I was on the deceased organ donor list. As far as getting a living kidney donor, that became I got on the active list, so to speak. I would say early 2000, but then I was paused on that because of the 5 bypass. But it's I got back on that. I've been on that for, I don't know, was it 2013, for about a year and a half? So yeah.
Okay. I understand that a potential donor for you can apply online,
Yep.
and the link to apply online is scrolling across the broadcast screen now.
Fantastic.
And it also will be pinned to the top of my personal Facebook page in the comments after Friday. So people can find you and apply, and we urge you to consider uh, uh, applying and trying to see if you can donate a kidney to David, because David has been waiting a long time. He's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He advocates for his fellow kidney patients.
Yep.
So we really want him to stay healthy. And by the way, folks, you want him to stay healthy too, because he's such a good advocate. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
tell us, how would a kidney transplant affect your life? If you had wishes, what kinds of things do you wish that you could do?
I want to go back to teaching and coaching baseball again. Teaching in the college arena, connecting with students, advising, getting an opportunity to coach again. I think the best part about coaching is just simply the relationships. I personally had a phenomenal college baseball coach who was very much, and he is. Interesting enough, my college baseball coach had a kidney transplant and a liver transplant. So he and I have more in common than we want to have in common. But for me, it's a second chance at life. It's kind of everything. Not kind of. It is everything. It is. It's hard to describe to people who don't realize that their life has all of a sudden, on the blink of an eye, been upended. And when you try to get it back, there's a lot of steps. And I just want another chance. Just give me a chance. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your experiences with Kent Bressler and Kidney Solutions at kidneysolutions.org. What kinds of things have they done to help you find a match?
Well, um, everything, everything. They are absolutely, when I say they, I say you too, because you're part of Kidney Solutions. Okay.
Absolutely.
Shannon Mulroy, sorry. Shane Blanchard, Jonathan. Um, the list goes on and on. Kent Bressler. I mean, you want to talk about servant leaders? Jim, you're a servant leader, okay? You didn't have to do this for me today. You didn't. So I had when I was starting cardiac rehab, I started the process of just looking through social media to find some sort of help and saying, hey, what's out there for me to kind of latch on to? A lot of big organizations, huge organizations. And I came upon Kidney Solutions, and lo and behold, I got a reply from a message. I think it was Twitter. Yes, it was Twitter, from Kent Bressler. Hey, give me a call. Let's talk. Lo and behold, Shannon reached out to me, and I had some fairly lengthy conversations with both of them. But Shannon said to me, she said, you can do two things. You can either take your story to your grave, or you can take it to social media and find a living kidney donor. And that hit. I mean, that just, whew, that hit. And that was an eye opener for me. And, it's interesting with Kidney Solutions. People like yourself, I can pick up the call. I can pick up the phone and just say, hey, Jim, are you able to talk for 20 minutes, or, or give you a text? It's the same thing with Shannon, Jonathan. It just is. And Kidney Solutions is a broad spectrum of CKD patients. So we're all in the same boat. We're just going down. We're all in the same river, but we're in different boats. And they have they spurred me to do to reach out to local media, which I did. I had a TV interview, KSTP interview, with my dialysis clinic facility administrator, which was live. I did local newspaper. I did a panel presentation with the National Kidney Foundation in Minnesota. Um, I passed out flyers to Cub Foods, my grocery store. I've passed out flyers at the local community center, the local library, the gym, the church. They gave me a car magnet. What else? What else? What else? They helped me define my story. When kidney disease strikes and you need a kidney, you don't really know what to say. And oftentimes you don't want to say anything because you kind of internalize it, but you have to externalize it. You have to tell people. And they've been pretty much they've been the Porsche that is driving me.
Okay. The links that David is talking about, the interviews, the newspaper stories, he's done a short interview with Kidney Solutions. All those links are going to be in the broadcast. They'll be pinned to the top of my page on Facebook. So if you want to drill down and learn more about David or Kidney Solutions, that's all going to be available to you. So you're not going to have any problem finding it. Before we conclude our talk for the evening, are there any final statements that you would like to make to our audience?
Know your blood pressure numbers. Work out. Hydrate. Be health conscious. Seek help if you need to. And Yeah. And hopefully somebody steps forward, fill out the form if you can, reach out to kidneysolutions.org. They'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for your time. And thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
No, no worries. Yeah, give the guys at Kidney Solutions a call, 830-285-2140. And, if you want to help David or you need help yourselves, they're happy to do it. So make sure that you contact them. So, David, that's all that I need from you today.
Okay.
You are free to leave anytime you wish. I got to button up a little bit
All right.
with the broadcast, but I thank you very much for coming on with us today and raising awareness. And, I hope that you find a donor very soon. You certainly have waited long enough. And, it would be my great pleasure someday to see you back out there coaching baseball and, being a professor at some university and doing the things that you love. So much appreciated, my friend. I'm glad you came on the broadcast with us today.
Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, David. You have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, that's our broadcast. Appreciate you taking time to watch. Got other guests coming up. God, I'm booked through December. So watch the space, my friends. And thank you.